Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of the Future of Work show, where we discuss ideas around management, business, organizations, leadership, technology that are going to be helpful for all of us as we build the organizations of the future. And I have a very special guest with me today, Jocelyn Davis. Jocelyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You know, Jocelyn, I have been reading your work for many years, and your model on strategic speed, before we even start talking about anything else, is so helpful. In fact, we teach it as part of a course we do on, how to manage in a hybrid workplace. When we speak to managers about, what are good ways to get aligned, we use your model of strategic speed. So, thanks for being a great influence for all of us.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Strategic Speed was my first book, and I'm just delighted that it's still out there and helping people.
It is. It's very, 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 very helpful, actually. I love the succinct way in which it just clarifies for managers what they need to do to get a team together. So I really found that very, very helpful. Of course, today you're here as the author of 3 nonfiction books and 1 fiction book. So for those of you who don't know Jocelyn, she's the author of 3 nonfiction books. Strategic Speed, as she said, was her first book. And then she's also written The Greats on Leadership, The Art of Quiet Influence, which is actually going to be the book that we're going to be talking about today. And then a novel, The Age of Kali. So Jocelyn, I have to ask you before we start, what got you interested in writing a novel? And what got you interested in writing a novel with some inspiration from India, shall I say?
Yes, indeed. So what got me started on writing a novel was that I had written The Art of Quiet Influence, which we're going to talk about, which really developed out of a master's program that I took on Eastern classics, which is the literature and philosophy of India, China, and Japan. And in that program, we read part of, not all of, the Mahabharata. And I was so just fascinated and inspired by that wonderful epic. But at the same time, somebody in our class made a comment that made me sort of think, I wonder if there's a way to think about this whole wonderful legend and work of literature differently, and try to bring out some of the more marginalized voices, so the women in particular. So I thought that I might, and I've always loved books that take a more inclusive view, shall we say, of great works of literature, and often a sort of a topsy-turvying, a turning upside down of a great work of literature. I've always loved that kind of thing. So I thought maybe I could do that or try that with a piece of the Mahabharata. So that's what The Age of Kali is. It's my attempt to reimagine the Mahabharata, but bringing forth some of the voices and perspectives that are not so prominent in the original.
That's such an interesting perspective, Jocelyn. Can I ask you what got you interested in, works of the East? Because, you refer to them in the program that you taught. Of course, the entire book, The Art of Quiet Influence, is about 12 sages of the East. So what is it that, in your life connected you with some of these writings?
Yeah, so I grew up in a foreign service family. My father was a diplomat. And so when I was growing up, I lived not ever in India, although I would love to visit someday, but in Southeast Asia and in East Africa and in the British Caribbean. So I just interacted with many different cultures growing up, and have always been interested in exploring cultures outside the West, shall we say. So when I left my previous career, which was working for a company that did leadership and sales training, so in the corporate training industry, I thought, well, can I sort of go back to my roots, so to speak, and start studying some of these other cultures and their literature and their philosophy. And fortunately, my husband teaches at a college, St. John's College here in Santa Fe, and they offer a program in Eastern Classics, which I could attend for free since I was a spouse. So I thought, well, it's right here. Why not take advantage of it? So that's what I did a number of years ago. As I got into that program, took that course, and out of that, or partly out of that, came the Art of Quiet Influence.
Your background in literature just sort of shines through all of this. You can just tell that here's someone who's looking at it from a different perspective. It's not the typical, management modeling. In the art of strategic speed, which I love, but is still, fairly management framework oriented. And, certainly the art of quiet influences is much more discursive, in the way it is written itself. So can I